Welcome to your next training of JobLogic. Now you've been able to log on successfully, but before you actually start to use the system for the purpose of managing your jobs, we want to explain a bit more about how you navigate around JobLogic. So this is your screen that you will see after login, and it will typically list all of the jobs that have been assigned to you. You will see three tabs, one showing all the visits that have been assigned to you, irrespective of their status and irrespective of the date that you are supposed to complete that job. There is a second tab which will show which jobs are relevant for today, and the third tab shows which jobs you are working on right now. The selection of which jobs are actually assigned to you and showing in your screen depends on the filters as shown on the top of the screen. So if you view the filters by clicking on that little icon with the number 5, we will see what filters have been set. And currently there are 5 filters assigned, and they all relate to an open status of the visit. There are 5 types of visit statuses, which is a new job, which means this job has literally been assigned to you, but you have not actually read it or accepted the job. There is the accepted status, which means that you have seen the job, you have pressed the green button, accepted, and it's now simply been added to your list, but you haven't started traveling yet. It might even be a job for way into the future. It just means the job has been assigned to you, you've read and accepted the job, and it's in your diary. The next status would be traveling. So after you've accepted the job and it is the day of the actual job, you will start the job by pressing the button travel, which will update the system status throughout. The next one is when you arrive on site. Again, you confirm on the app that you are on site, and the system and customer will be informed accordingly. And the final one is when you leave the site. As you finished, either complete or part complete. We will go into the further details at a later stage, but these are the main open visit statuses. You are able to also view closed visit statuses by selecting any of these by simply clicking the box. However, as a field engineer, surveyor, you're probably not interested to see what status of closed or cancelled jobs there are. You will primarily look at statuses of jobs that you're working on or jobs that have been assigned to you for the future. Likewise, you're able to select contract visit status, and you're able to select a particular date range for the visits, but we would most definitely advise you to make sure you only have the open visit statuses as shown in this area active, and all of the others you will leave untouched. The next important part of this screen is highly likely the search box, whereby imagine you have a selection of 10, 20, maybe 30 visits lined up for the next weeks, and you're looking for a specific job. You can literally type any kind of information in here, which you might find in a job. So that could be a job number, that could be an address, that could be a date, it could be anything, a postcode, and that will filter down the list that you see in front of you. Obviously, as I currently only have one visit, there's no need for me to search. But I can imagine if you've got a long list and it's difficult for you to find, but you do know an address or a postcode, this is the quick way to do that. Below the search, you will see a drop down of filters, sorts, sorts. So you'll see a drop down of sorts, and you can sort in any kind of way you want. The most logical one is already selected, which is the oldest, as in the earliest appointment that you're going to, and then the newest, which is the furthest in the distant appointment. So that's the most likely selection that you'll make. But you could select on postcode, or you could select on priority. However, we advise you keep the sort in appointment date oldest to newest. And just to reiterate, the oldest means actually the earliest to today, and the newest is the furthest away in the calendar. So when we close the sort, you'll see it remains at the top, appointment date oldest to newest. With respect to the actual information about the job in this area here, there is the job information. Most importantly is the actual status of the job. So in this case, I have already accepted the job, and also the next action for you, which would be in this case, you are going to travel, but only actually on the date that this job is due. Now you'll see this is a due date which is in the past, but it is test data, so don't be hung up on what you read. More about the principle that you have a status on the top which says you have accepted it. You've got a status at the bottom of the job which tells you what your next step is, and that would be in this case to travel. Further information in this screen is a brief description of what is expected. We'll go into more detail later about the entire information about the job, but this gives you a quick information about what kind of job you're heading for, the date that's been agreed with the customer and therefore has been assigned to you in the calendar, how long in the distance, how long in the future this job is, and you've got all of the contact details and the address right here, with a chance for you to click on the map or to click on the highlighted phone number. Any information in blue is a hyperlink to whichever the information is that you see. So here it is phone number, view on map. Just underneath that there is a box of information that you can view. So if you click on the word view, you'll see there's information. And in this case, there's some information about assets that are in warranty, but there are 0 of those at the moment. So for now, you can ignore that. Simply click back on the main screen to get you back where you were. Back to how to navigate this system. The green buttons are always the actions you're looking for. So any green button is self-explanatory in what the action is that you're going to undertake. Then finally, at the bottom of the screen, you will see some other menus that we will go through one by one. So once you have various visits planned and you will click on the route button at the bottom, you will see a suggested route. At the moment, there's only test data and not enough to show you, but I guess you can imagine that this will be a helpful tool in you planning your route from one visit to another. There is a scan button next to that. As we are working on some clever digital tools, you will in the future be using this scan button, maybe for registration of serial numbers, for instance. Next to the scan button at the bottom, you will see a chat icon. When you click on the chat icon, you are able to search for any of your colleagues that are live, but at the moment you see Andrew is not live, but Carol and Annie are. So I could talk to Annie and I could talk to her online. So for you to understand, this chat is an internal chat with anyone who is currently in the business. In the right top hand corner, you see an icon where you can start a new chat, and that's where you can choose anyone you have not yet communicated with. By the time we go live, all of the employees within the company should be there, but you might be particularly interested to have a little chat with Tony. So you select Tony on the list. And there you go. You're ready to talk to Tony online. Click in the message box and type him any kind of message. The final button at the bottom of the screen is the menu button. This is any other information whereby you've got a choice of looking at all your documents. I'll click on my documents on the left hand top, and that will show any relevant documents for you that you can choose from. There will be a library available that you can then use within the various jobs. There will be forms set up for you to use. You'll see later on in the jobs that some forms will start to appear, like the electrical installation form. You can see the status of your version and that you're logged in. The next one, an advanced button. Not many advanced features for you available. You'll be able to view all customers. However, you already have that information within your job, so you're unlikely to use this. Then there is a contact us button whereby you are contacting JobLogic. And finally, there's a logout button. So as you can see, there's really not that much information in the menu section for you. However, it might be of interest to check the My Documents and the forms every now and again to see if there's any new forms. But I can already tell you that any forms or documents that are relevant to jobs that you're going to visit will appear within the jobs themselves. So going back to visits, we have now covered all of the parts of how to navigate JobLogic on your phone. I hope this has been of use. If not, then please do reach out to myself, Alfred van Pelt, or to Tony, and we are very, very happy to help you navigate this remotely. We will see you in the next video, and we will explain all about the actual handling and managing of jobs via this system.